All right, now it's time for center stage. Me, C. Marty, Johnny, Christina are going to dig into a conversation that I know many of you right now tuning in experience it, but perhaps many of you don't want to talk about it. And it's this idea of failure. Oh yeah, I see you in the comments, brother, and you're right. Can't have success without failure. And failure sucks. There's no getting around it. But here's the thing. It's not about the failure itself. It's about how you respond to it. We had last segment, Johnny sharing his experiences, Marty sharing his experiences. I know Tina has had plenty of failure, and I don't say that in jest or lightly. But Tina sits here today as a business athlete because she's experienced that failure, and she gets up every single day walking towards it. Before the show started months ago, she said, holy fuck, gotta do video every day? Yeah. And she shows up every single day walking towards that failure. So Tina, how do you deal with failure, and how have you dealt with failure? Inspire the audience listening right now. Share your stories, your experiences. What's your go-to strategy, Christina Flynn, coach, for bouncing back when things don't go as planned? Christina Flynn.
Bouncing back is relative, right? And I think we talk about failure as though it's all the same thing. Big failure and small failure feel very different. Failure that impacts you as an individual versus your entire family versus financial situations. There are different types of failure. So for me, obviously I've experienced both, but my biggest failure is like, for example, when I had to shut down my company and all of the fallout that comes with that after having this really big dream, after making a lot of promises to a lot of people, investing 3+ almost 4 years of my life into something, I had to eat it. Yeah. And I wasn't in a good way. If you've ever had to shut down a company, I'm like, I always joke like fetal position, fully clothed in the shower. Like you're just not okay. And I think what I learned from that situation was probably one of my darkest times was you can come back from it. It is going to be hard. You are going to feel like you fucked everything up and you will do it again. But what you can take with you are the lessons you learn and knowing and documenting those and saying, never fucking again. I will never do that again in that way. I will fail again, but I need to take these lessons with me because all of this hardship can't be for nothing.
I got to jump in here, man. Here's the thing. And I don't blame anybody for feeling the way they do about failure because we've been taught wrong. Failure is beautiful. Failure is that thing that allows us to develop a skill, become better human beings than we would have without it. And if we start twisting this around and we start looking, oh my God, I failed, I learned, I grew. And obviously the story you just told about fetal position in the shower, brutal, Christina, I hear you. But think about how much better you became because of that. That failure gave you a skill set that is going to bless the shit out of you later in life. If you didn't have that, whatever blessing is in the mail would not be coming your way. So people, and when I say people, I'm not talking at my co-host here. I'm talking about people in general. We've all been duped. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is beautiful. Failure is what gets you what you want. So stop running from it and start running to it.
No, I'm with you, Johnny. And I was going to say another thing about failure. I mentioned earlier how there's nothing you can do about it, right? It's going to happen. But it's okay to feel how you want to feel. It's okay to be in the fetal position. Christina just said, let those feelings out, cry, do whatever you got to do. I know I've done it. I'm sure Johnny has done it. I know Keith has done it.
Yeah.
And Tina just admitted that she did it. So
Hell
one
yeah.
thing you got to realize is you're not by yourself. You know, other people have gone through it. That's why this show is great because we're sharing it with you and letting you know that it's okay. Yes. But what's not okay is to stay in that state forever. Right?
Yes.
And you can't use that to do detrimental things to you. You can't use that to skip the gym. You can't use that to get on alcohol. You can't use that to get on hookah and smoke weed and, you know, do those things to your detriment. Right. So just remember, you got to keep moving forward and find a way to create some momentum. And it might be going back to the bottom. For myself, I had to go down and DoorDash to get my momentum before. And it is what it is. It's okay. But you're not going to be there forever. That's my
failure. And I'm just jumping on what you're saying, brother, because that's fucking beautiful. As long as you DoorDash, that was you basically revamping to go back up. As long as it doesn't cause you to quit, you are fucking gold. And gold. You're going to get everything you want if failure doesn't cause you to quit, which means you just got to have the fucking guts to stand up one more time than you fell down. And that one time you stand up, and it's usually the hardest time. What the fuck? Where's all this beautiful shit coming from? Because you were the person that had the nuts to get up one more time than everybody else. So remember,
Yes.
it's just part of the process. It's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. Reframe this word in your mind.
Marty, I want to converse with you. Sometimes I remind myself, and I talk with my team here, that musicians that play songs over and over and over again, they're like, oh my God, I played this song again. Aren't people tired of it? Like, no, somebody never heard this song because we're in a different city. And Marty, there's a story that I love you've told me, and it just resonates for me. And I know that somebody listening right now or somebody in the journey of this content will hear this, and I think will be inspired. I love when you've told me right from day one, you've told me many times when you were on your journey through athletics and the doors started closing, you ended up at the gym and people were calling you the loser. And I'll never forget that, man, because you're like, I'm not a fucking loser. And that to you was like going through that path of failure. And that word, I just feel like it motivated you to tell the world that you weren't a loser. Share the story again with Nation, Marty, about your journey out there. When you fell, you failed, you picked yourself up. You're like, I'm not a fucking loser. I'm doing something about it.
Man, I'll try to keep it brief, but it was crazy. When I got home after playing basketball my whole life, nationally ranked teams, multiple scholarships, I had to work. My mom was like, you got to get a job if you're going to be living here, because I wanted to just train for basketball and go overseas. So got the job, and I'm telling you, like, the gym is like,
real life was kicking in, Marty. Mom's, here's real life.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I tried to use my degree to get a job. Everybody told me no. I went on multiple interviews. The only job that would take me was the front desk at the gym. Of course, it's like the most popular gym in the area. I got coaches coming in there, former teammates, some of them in the NBA. And this one of my, now he wasn't my teammate, but somebody I played against, grew up with, he came in, NBA player, I don't want to say his name, came in to work out. I promise you, I ran to the back because I was so fucking embarrassed, and I had to get myself together. I was like, listen, man, this is where you are, man. So just go out there, let him see you. It's going to suck, but he ain't going to be here all day, and you'll forget about it by the end of the day. So I had to deal with shit like that a lot. I got plenty of stories. Like I said, I could do a whole episode on it, but just like Johnny says, pull your pants down or sit in your shit, whatever you want to call it. You just got to realize this is where you are, embrace it, and do what the fuck you got to do to get out of it.
Christina, Johnny, can you see why when I met Marty, why I invited him to hang out with me on this show and why I wanted to build with him? Because you hear that and you're like, holy fuck, man. And then you see the work ethic this guy has. So guess what I'm trying to share with you, Nation, is that you all can do it. And it's going to be tough. And Marty's, yeah, you're going to have failure. It's going to happen. So Marty, thanks for sharing that story. And I get inspired every time I hear it, because I can only imagine how you were feeling through that experience. And you're like, nah, man, I got to do something about it. And it's like that burn the boats analogy. I got to burn the boats.
I was going to say, man, I got plenty of them. If we do another failure episode, just ask me. I got plenty of those.
And Marty, real quick, why don't you explain to everybody? So you basically talked about, okay, look, this is going to suck, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that little experience of you facing the music, it changed something in you to take bigger steps forward. Explain how, if had that not happened, you may not have taken the next steps that you did. So thank God that NBA player walked in there and gave you that feeling.
Yeah, that was one of the best things that ever could happen to me, man, because I knew I never want to feel like this again. So what do I need to do to never feel like this again? I'll never feel like that, ever. That was bad.
You know what? I want to acknowledge somebody, and this is public, so I'm not doing nothing out of turn here. But we got one of our awesome pseudo colleagues of the show, Seth, who last week we talked about a post that was put out there by LinkedIn celebrating something he didn't like to have celebrated. Maybe, Marty, that was the best thing to happen to Seth. I don't know. Maybe in 12 months from now or 8 months from now, he's like, fuck, that post is coming back. That anniversary post is coming back again from LinkedIn. And he's fuck, I don't want to have that one coming up again. So, man, I don't know, cloud here, right?
Change isn't logic, right? Like we need feeling. We need that motivation that we're all talking about. That's a feeling internally caused by a number of different things, brain-body connection, our nervous system. But without those feelings, you're not moving. So sometimes you need to go beyond the logic. Because there's a lot of times in failure, logic doesn't apply. Like what
it doesn't work with it.
I'm looking at and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this feeling is. And I remember my psychiatrist being like, I think you're feeling betrayal from what happened with the team around you. That's an entirely different feeling. And I was like, okay, so what the fuck do I do with this? But the nice part is I can't apply logic to what happened. It doesn't matter though. What I need to take into and tap into is the feeling that I was having that was forcing me to say, never again am I going to be in this situation.
Yeah, those feelings we talk about, right? Hey, Adam Host, I see you sitting in the green room. Jim, we're going to bring Adam up in a quick second. We're going to go to the Fit Tip and bring Adam up in a quick second here. Eric, what's shaking, brother? Thanks for joining us on the show here. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. This show is about helping you get your day started. It's about helping you achieve those big, audacious goals. We talk about failure. We invite failure here in the lab because we've learned, myself, Tina, John, Marty, we've learned that failure has helped propel us forward. So don't take this as a negative. Take this as some inspiration to get you moving out of bed this morning, to not hit that snooze button as you're starting your day. And Tunart Page says failure builds the muscles. Is that not true? That's exactly. And of course, Tech Dad says if you're not failing, you're not even trying. All right, Jimmy, let's do the fit tip with Marty, and then we're going to come back with Adam and continue the conversation. But we're going to move the conversation. We're not going to move it. We're going to continue to move in the conversation from resilience to redemption, and how you redeem yourself through failure and making something else out of it. Jimmy, let's get Marty.